You talking right now?
Oh, dang it. I was hoping it didn't, like, sound. Because I was going to catch you talking. It seemed like you have momentum, so I want to catch it.
Oh, it's okay.
That hurts. Oh, don't mind the hearts. It's just, you know.
Put it on the wrong side.
Okay.
Well, I think we're ready for this.
Okay. You ready? I got our little... Not that one. This one. Okay.
Are we gonna re-record or are we starting? Are we gonna have an introduction?
Okay, intro.
They told us the time.
Okay, it won't tell us the time.
This is the Macika show.
Why do I feel like my...
You're a halo? Half your head is missing? Jesus. Okay. Welcome to this.
Okay. Maybe if we like...
Prime example. Do you want to go this way?
Yeah. Okay, that's better. Okay. So, this is Short Talks with
Macika.
Mackenzie and Tanika. Okay, so we don't know how often we'll be doing this, but this is our reflection, so enjoy. Don't mind the hearts around Mackenzie's head, or if it comes on my head, that's just because we're so passionate about this reflection, hence the love. Okay, so we're going to talk about mild mental impairments, and like in the article there was a couple definitions, and it talked about like if you didn't have an adequate IQ or if you were lacking in some areas, and like we just want to talk about like how we felt about that.
Because it's not reliable when, if you put yourself, okay, she was saying how if you put yourself at risk or like your safety or whatever, and you decide to put yourself at risk, then you might be qualified as a mild mental impairment, whatever individual, which is BS because being outside is like putting yourself at risk. There's so many different things going on in the world. Going to school could be, she said, jaywalking, like, and that would qualify you as a mild mental impairment and stuff. So what exactly does justify you as that? Like, where is that line crossed and drawn?
Yeah, and it says like they failed to do like certain tasks in certain areas, and I was like, well, that's just kind of being a part of human, like self-direction, safety, you know, different things like that, and like even hygiene too. Like if you don't take a shower every day, like maybe even like every other day, does that qualify you as like mildly mentally impaired? And I feel like even like putting this label on students, like when you kind of agree, like they're gonna like take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, they're gonna use that to their advantage and say, oh, well, I have a mild mental impairment, so you don't have to hold me to the standards that everyone else is at because I was labeled as this. So it's kind of a BS call to put somebody labeled as that when when they can be held accountable to most degrees up to every standard that everyone else is at.
Yeah, and we felt like too with like tests and different things like that. Like in the article, it was saying how students fail to do like current abilities, like reading at a certain level, and like taking tests that are geared toward like their mental age rather than their chronological age, and like that kind of goes with like taking advantage of the system. I know like if I was a student and I knew that I could, if I act dumber, I would take a test that was easier. I would take full advantage of that. So how would you do that? By, like, we need to take tests that are also, like, challenging these type of students. Mm-hmm. Like, it needs to go beyond, like, with what they just know. It needs to, like,
push
challenge
their limits.
them. Yeah.
And this is the same thing. Okay, I'm relating this to, like, this thing that we read in Caitlin's class. And in Virginia, they lowered the state standards for per race. So like if you're Asian, then you have to pass the math state test by 85% or something, whereas African Americans it was like 54%. It's the same thing. It's putting that limit on the students instead of encouraging them to reach that limit. So they don't have to hold themselves accountable, but you want to as a teacher, but you don't have to, like the students don't have to push themselves because it's not required of them, and they can expect a lowered expectation of themselves from the teacher.
Mm-hmm. And we're not saying that like the test should be like super rigorous and everyone should be like on the same, like there shouldn't be like one assessment for everyone. like this system is already flawed because like if you like standardized tests and everything, like I do really good on math, but in math class I actually suck. Like I get a D in math, but like ace or like I'm like above average in math, and it's because like I can take like more time in standardized testing, and so like that's not really a fair assessment of what I know about math and everything. But I think like what we're saying too is that, you know, we need to like challenge these students and like they need to show like improvements and things like that. And by putting like this label on them, we can kind of be setting them up to fail like in their education too.
Yeah.
And then oh yeah, we did want to say like we don't think that like an IQ or an intelligence determines like mental efficiency. So like Mackenzie had an example.
Sheldon.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. He has a high IQ, but he has zero social skills, like doesn't realize what the heck is going on with his friends ever, and then he like has to analyze everything. And then we had another example.
Oh, the Stephen Hawking. You're probably gonna have to explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so he's like the smartest guy ever, not ever, but he's really smart, but he's in a wheelchair, he's confined, like he's impaired, but strong IQ. So how does an IQ determine your mental efficiency or your capability to succeed in everyday life when, you know, you have Stephen Hawking, one of the smartest like scientists, who can't walk by himself, or I don't know if he can even go to the bathroom by himself, but he's the smartest guy. Like that doesn't equate to like your success in daily life. Like IQ has almost nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm. I think that what we're really trying to get at is like that your mental status shouldn't be like, yes, we should be making like accommodations for these students, but not to the point of like not holding them accountable. And I think that most times when people hear like, oh, you're mentally disabled, we're just going to go easy on you and things like that, I would take full advantage of that as a student.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we can also empower those people that truly do have those disabilities and kind of like help them to grow in their education. So, yeah.
And not to mention, it could also affect the students' like social world. If other students knew, you know, like, oh, they're mildly mentally impaired, you know, who knows what judgment could be passed, or like the friendships that might be awkward or something, or even the other students who are like, oh, well, I'm going to dumb down myself so I can be labeled as this. I won't be held accountable either. And so it could just affect such a different social atmosphere than just that one student. It could affect your entire classroom just because this one student was labeled with something that doesn't need to be labeled.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Macika Talks and the hearts and everything. Remember us and like us on Facebook.
Yeah.